You ever find yourself in the middle of a lively conversation where everyone's talking, laughing, reacting, and everything feels completely normal on the surface, and then out of nowhere you suddenly feel like you've got these strange social superpowers you never asked for and honestly don't even want? Not the flashy kind you see in movies, but something quieter, something almost invisible, like you're picking up signals that no one else around you seems to notice. You start seeing the way someone's smile tightens just slightly when a certain name comes up. You catch a quick glance between two people that lingers just a fraction too long. And in that moment, you realize you're not just hearing the conversation anymore. You're reading everything underneath it, whether you want to or not, that lingers just a fraction longer than it should, like something unspoken just passed between them, and neither of them wants to say it out loud. You feel the energy in the room shift slightly, almost like the mood changed without anyone actually acknowledging it or reacting to it directly, even though everyone else keeps laughing and talking like nothing happened, completely unaware of the tension that just quietly slipped into the conversation. And what do you do in that moment when you notice all of this happening right in front of you, but no one else seems to catch it? You stay quiet, not because you have nothing to say, but because you're still processing everything you just picked up on beneath the surface. Taking it all in, saying absolutely nothing, and just observing as the conversation keeps moving forward like everything is perfectly fine. If this sounds uncomfortably familiar to you, or maybe it reminds you of someone you know who always seems a little too aware of everything going on, someone who notices more than they say, who reads between the lines without even trying, but never feels the need to jump in and explain it, then you're in the right place, because this isn't random and it's not something that just happens occasionally without reason. There's actually a whole group of people who experience the world like this every single day, quietly taking in more than they let on. The kind of people who notice everything, from the smallest emotional shifts to the hidden meaning behind simple conversations. But for whatever reason, they rarely say a word about any of it, even when they clearly see what's really going on. But rarely say a word about it, because speaking up isn't always the smartest move when you can already see how everything is playing out. Today, we're diving into the hidden psychology behind these silent observers and why they seem to understand more than they let on. Because once you really see how this works, you start to realize this isn't random behavior, it's actually a pattern. Let's start with the first type, the one that feels everything before it's even said out loud in the room. The emotional sponge, the person who walks into any space and immediately picks up on the emotional temperature without trying. Drop a comment below if you're already realizing this sounds exactly like you or someone you know. Subscribe for more if you're starting to realize how much you've been noticing all along without even thinking about it. This person walks into any room and almost instantly feels the emotional atmosphere, even when nobody has said a single word yet. They can tell when someone is pretending to be okay, even if that person is smiling and acting like everything is completely fine. They feel tension building long before it becomes obvious, like they're picking up signals most people don't even realize exist. Picture yourself sitting at dinner with a group of friends. Everything seems normal on the surface and the conversation is flowing easily. One of them starts talking about a new job, smiling brightly and sounding positive, like everything is going exactly how they planned. Her laugh comes just a fraction too late, like she's forcing it to land at the right moment. Something about it doesn't match what she's saying, even though everything sounds perfectly fine on the surface. Most people don't notice anything unusual and just keep the conversation moving without thinking twice. But you pick up on it immediately, and instead of reacting, you quietly store it away in your mind. Later on, you might connect it to something else you noticed earlier, building a clearer picture over time. And even if you never say anything out loud, you understand more about what's really going on than most people do. Sometimes they don't need to say anything at all because their presence alone can make someone feel understood in a way words often can't. They pick up on what others are feeling almost instantly, responding with quiet awareness instead of jumping in or trying to control the moment. They notice how people connect even when nothing is being said directly, picking up on subtle shifts most people completely miss. It becomes clear who's close, who's distant, and what's really happening beneath the surface of the conversation without anyone explaining it. At times, that level of awareness comes with a weight, because seeing more also means carrying more than you ever expected to. But at the same time, it builds a kind of quiet strength and emotional control that most people never take the time to develop, who just got subtly put down, who got quietly dismissed, and who in that room is pretending they didn't even feel it. Imagine you're sitting in a team meeting at work, everyone around the table looking focused, professional, and completely engaged. You notice the boss's jaw tighten ever so slightly when a particular idea gets brought up by a colleague. Another coworker smiles right on cue, perfectly timed and polished, but if you look closely, his eyes stay completely cold. In just 10 seconds, you've already quietly mapped out every single power play unfolding beneath the surface of that room. But you stay completely quiet, you say absolutely nothing, you simply sit back, watch carefully, and take it all in. You just observe calmly and carefully while everyone else around you completely misses the details. This is the quiet power of presence, the ability to see everything without needing to say a single word. These are the silent observers, the people who notice the most but choose to say the least. They see more than anyone else in the room, but they also carry more than anyone ever realizes. And that is what makes them so quietly remarkable, so deeply thoughtful, so genuinely rare. If you made it this far, you already know exactly which type you are deep down inside. So drop a comment below and tell me which silent observer type are you. You start realizing that what people say out loud is only a small part of what's actually happening in the room. Most of the real communication is happening in pauses, glances, and timing that nobody points out directly. And while everyone else moves on quickly, you're still processing what just happened underneath it all. So you stay quiet, not because you missed it, but because you saw more than you needed to say. If you're someone who notices everything but says nothing, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me which type you relate to most. If you enjoyed this calm dive into the quieter side of human behavior, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more thoughtful psychology content like this. Thanks for watching and for noticing the things the rest of us sometimes miss. See you in the next one.